Hey, Billy Ephardt here, and we're talking about the triple X factor, the triple X graph, that really gives us a 30,000 foot view of finances and building wealth, your personal finances and building wealth. In other videos, I've explained what we call the first X, the second X. Today, in this video, I want to talk for just a minute about what we call the third X. And really, what this whole graph is about, it's about making sense of making money for making a difference. And it's the making the difference that's what we call wealth builders that we have is about. It's about really having an impact, seeing what we call city and nation transformation. But as we look at this on the third X, there is a combination of things that create the first X. So in the other videos I explained, that create the third X. The other videos I explained how the first X is created. I also explained how the second X is created. But the third X here is kind of unique, and I've heard other people who've read the book use the graph. Sometimes they get this part wrong. So here's what I want to say. What happens is I use a passage out of the New Testament where it says, and this is out of my book, Money Mastery, on page 38. It says, "Then he spoke a parable to them, saying, the ground of a certain rich man yielded plentifully, and he thought within himself, saying, what shall I do, since I have no room to store my crops? So I said, I will do this, I will pull down my barns and build greater, and there I will store all my crops and my goods. And I will say to my soul, soul, you have many goods laid up for many years. Take your ease, eat, drink, and be merry. But God said to him, fool, this night your soul be required of you. Then whose will those things be which you have provided? So is he who lays up treasure for himself and is not rich toward God." I was like this guy right here in my own personal life, because as I began to grow and build, I thought exactly the same thing. I thought, I've arrived, I've made it, and I sat on the couch for several years after I retired. And my wife told me, she came in and said, if you don't get off the couch, I'm going to kill you. So I tell that story because I was at home for 2 years playing golf, doing things. And now I'm excited to be back doing what I'm doing. But I realized as I was going through this process, my whole goal had been to create the second X, which I explained in another video. But I realized what I was really supposed to be doing was building the third X. And so the third X really is made up of a combination of things. First of all, you have your income of the green that's coming from the assets. And this is a graph. It's actually a monthly graph where you're graphing how much your income is per month. And I want everybody to know, I know this line not going to go usually for most people anywhere close to this steep of growth. You're going to be more level down here and it'll probably come up. But we're doing it to show you how it works, so for illustration purposes. And so, but where the third X is formed is this line continues to grow. This line represents income from your assets, like rent from a house, for example. So it represents, this could represent, 50 houses here and rent coming in. And so you're having to manage the income, but you're not having to work for the income, okay? But then where the third X really is formed is once you get over here and you kind of personally get at the level of what I call your target living allowance. You kind of get at that level where, you have one or two homes, my wife and I at one point had 4, and it's very hard to manage all that. We went back down to 2. I always say kiddingly, everybody needs 2 places. One where when it's hot you can go and cool off, or one where it's cold you can go and warm up. But the other side of this is that I want you to see is that as we began to do this, I began to realize I could actually take some of these assets and actually give them or invest them into what I call kingdom transformation. You may want to call it city and nation transformation. Some of you watching this, you got this far in the video, you may want to call it social impact. But however you view it, you take some of your assets and then all of the excess income past this target living allowance you want to be at, and all of that excess income, you give away 100% of it. That's what L.G. Letourneau, the founder of Caterpillar, did toward the end of his life. He was giving away 90% of his income and living on 10%. One reason was his income was so large. But the other thing is that what we can do in this day and age, and we have what we call Tricord Global, that's a part of Wealth Builders that we manage, and we actually make social impact investments in Africa and other parts of the world where people actually get microfinance loans, and we put a lot of money over in these kind of endeavors, and this allows us to make this kind of impact where now the income that's coming in is actually going to form the third X, which is having an impact, a social impact, a spiritual impact, an economic impact, just helping nations that need help. So this is Billy Ephardt. I appreciate you tuning in for the explanation of the Triple X, and we'll see you right back here on another video. Bye-bye.